everybody. My name is Paula. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions for Health Professional Programs here at Western New England University. And I'm here today to join you and talk a little bit more about careers in pharmacy and what their salaries look like. Because we do offer the Doctor of Pharmacy program here at Western New England University. So let's first review what a pharmacist does. Pharmacists are the medication experts who enhance patient care and promote wellness. Pharmacists use their professional knowledge to prepare and dispense prescriptions, ensure medicines and doses are correct, and they prevent the harmful drug interactions that may occur. They also counsel patients on the safe and appropriate use of their medications. And they also do it with over-the-counter medications as well. So let's talk about actually all the different careers that are out there. And besides the one in retail pharmacy, because that's what everybody thinks about when they think of a pharmacist and their role, they think about the community setting or the retail setting. And I'm talking about, your Walgreens, your CVS, your Rite Aid, your Costco, and now even Amazon is actually in the online prescription business, which is kind of cool too. So being a pharmacist, you can work for them, which is kind of nice. But besides actually being in a community pharmacist, there are over 100 different career choices. And we're going to touch upon the top 5 of them today, and I'll leave the rest. But again, we're going to go over the retail pharmacist. We're going to go over the hospital pharmacy, managed care, ambulatory care, long-term care, pharmaceutical industry, federal and state government positions, hospice, nuclear pharmacy. Now, I know I just want to tell you what that is because just in case, because it doesn't sound like it really is what it is. But nuclear pharmacy is where they prepare and dispense patient-specific radiopharmaceutical doses for diagnostic imaging and therapeutic procedures, some, but it's more for diagnostic. So they're going to actually go ahead and put in, along with some of the radio, they're going to put in some actual drugs that are going to be in, say, a filler of, and I apologize for, to go ahead and inject it to somebody. So nuclear pharmacists typically work at night, overnight, because of the fact that the radio activity that's in the drugs and the materials actually only lasts so long. So a lot of times they work overnight for the hospital's day imaging, whatever's scheduled that day. And then they'll prepare it again the next night for the following day's hospital. So nuclear pharmacy is pretty much in the hospital. But then again, you got veterinary pharmacy, compounding, medical writing, and there's so much more than just the retail sector. But let's start off actually first in breaking down each of these career options in a pharmacist has. And let's start off with the retail one, again, because that's your biggest one that everybody thinks about. So they're going to go ahead and their responsibilities are to perform drug use reviews, okay? Because that's the biggest thing a pharmacist does, is they're looking for drug interactions or they're looking for allergies that a patient might have and that maybe something in the medication has possibly an allergic reaction to them. So that's primarily what they are looking for when they are in the pharmacy at a community pharmacy. They're also filling prescriptions. They're overseeing their technicians and clerks. They're doing a lot of patient counseling. They're also going to be communicating with the physician offices and health insurance companies. So this is actually a good example to show you that this type of pharmacist has the most verbal communication with the general public. Okay, because if you think about it, when you get sick or when you're not feeling good, maybe you feel a cold coming on, right? You run down to your local pharmacy, and sometimes, depending if maybe you have a child that's sick at home, and maybe you just don't know how much to give them, or what the proper medication is, or maybe they have an allergy towards other medications that you want. You're going to actually ask the pharmacist if they can help you. So again, this type of role has a lot of interaction with the open public. And keep in mind, actually, when you're sick, you're not really feeling well. So a lot of times your personality is not up to par with what you normally will feel like. So again, you're maybe a little bit abrupt. So pharmacists in these roles actually have to deal with a lot of unhappy people looking to get better. But what a wonderful thing is when they finally get the right medication and they feel better, typically they go in to tell their pharmacist that, thank you, it was all set. So it's kind of nice. But you can also see that their salary range, and this is pretty much the start. So it's a good starting range. And if you own your own pharmacy, then you can make much, much more. But again, out here in the Northeast, you're going to find that typically the community pharmacies are they're the chains because they have the most. You really don't see independent pharmacies unless you're going out to New York, probably in upper state Vermont, maybe, or Maine, or out west. But out here on the East Coast, pretty much primarily it's CVS and Walgreens that's taken over, or your local Stop and Shop or grocery store or Costco. And now, again, even the online service, which is fantastic with Amazon. So a hospital pharmacist. Okay, so there's actually two different types of hospital pharmacists. The first one I'm going to talk about right now is going to be in the dispensing unit of an actual pharmacy that's located in the hospital. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to perform drug use reviews, and they're going to fill out orders. They're going to prepare and check intravenous solutions, because not a lot of the folks that are in hospitals can take pill form, so they'll actually put it in an intravenous form. They're going to oversee their technicians, and they're also going to communicate with their physicians and nurses only. Actually, they have very little contact with the patients or the general public because they're only in the hospital. But you want to keep in mind that hospitals are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this is actually considered a very high volume production area. You're going to be on your feet all the time, even if you're working overnight, because a lot of people that are in the hospitals, unfortunately, need medication round the clock. So you're going to be busy quite a bit. But again, with this, actually, you're going to also see within hospitals, you're actually going to have to work some of the weekends and, keep that in mind, and you're going to work some night times as well. But their salary to start is pretty nice, actually, still. And a little fun fact that I always like to share is that while you're in a hospital and you receive medications from the physician that's on staff, you're actually getting medication orders that the pharmacy in the hospital is filling. So it's only when you're outside of a hospital that actually you will receive prescriptions from a medical provider or your physician. So while you're in a hospital, medication orders are going through the hospital pharmacy. It's outside of a hospital, any prescriptions or medication orders are going through prescriptions through your local retail chain. So let's talk about the other side of a hospital pharmacist, which is completely different, two separate jobs completely. And we're going to talk about the clinical pharmacist. So they're also known as staff pharmacists, acute care or internal medicine pharmacists. They provide a wide variety of services that are critical to the care provided in hospitals. Hospital pharmacists participate in patient rounds with other healthcare professionals who rely on the pharmacist's expertise to make medication decisions and assure optimal patient care. They review the patient charts. They monitor medication therapy, and they also spend their time counseling patients regarding medications when they're admitted, while they're in the hospital, and before they are discharged. So this is what I'm talking about. So every hospital is actually going to have a different wing. Maybe it's a cardiac wing. Maybe it's an oncology wing. Oncology is more for cancer patients. So each wing of a hospital is actually going to have as well a hospital staff pharmacist, clinical pharmacist on that wing, because they also want to know if you've got a lot of cardiologists on that floor, if you're in a cardiology wing and you're dealing with a cardiologist, but yet you also have maybe diabetes, maybe you have other infections. That's where that type of pharmacist is really going to come in handy, because they're going to be looking at not only your cardiac cardiac medications, but they're going to be looking at all your other medications to make sure that you're going to be safe to leave the hospital at a certain point and go home with certain medications that are right for you to live your best life. Okay, so that's just another little fun fact about them. Okay, so long-term care pharmacists, they're also known as geriatric pharmacists or senior care or consultant pharmacists. As somebody gets older, they may be faced with more health conditions that need to be treated on a regular basis. So as you age, the body changes can affect the way medicines are absorbed and used. Obviously, there's a very big difference between how a 6-year-old will take medication versus, say, a 53-year-old, okay, and how your body absorbs it. Same being actually with long-term care pharmacists, they deal with the geriatric population. And again, a lot of times in geriatrics, they'll have multiple conditions that they're treating. So long-term care pharmacists specialize in treating older adults who may take several medications to manage multiple long-term health issues, such as diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, pain, and other conditions associated with aging. They work as part of a healthcare team to counsel patients and their caregivers regarding safe and appropriate use of medications to meet the unique needs of the senior population. So a little fun fact actually about this kind of pharmacist, this gives them a great opportunity to get out and about during their day and travel. We talked about pharmacists being on their feet all day long, especially in hospitals. But this is great because in long-term care pharmacy, they can actually go out from one facility to another facility to look over all those patient charts, which gets them out during the day and traveling, even though they're on their feet, but it gets them a little bit of a break here and there. So that's kind of nice. But again, starting salary looks pretty nice. So pharmacists in government, federal pharmacy are employees of local, state, and federal government agencies. Opportunities for pharmacists in the government are varied, and they cover a wide scope of practices, including clinical research and administrative roles. Towards the end of a pharmacist's career, they might decide actually to go and be a pharmacist inspector, a pharmacy inspector, because pharmacies do get inspected and they get audited all the time. And a lot of times it's a surprise audit because they do also want to make sure that what they have in their controlled area, as far as the medications that they have, are not leaking out without any prescriptions being had. So again, that's a huge role for pharmacy inspectors to go out and work for the government. They're also working for the Bureau of Prisons because they too need health care. And so not everybody thinks about it that way. They're in the military also in our uniform services. They're on the Indian reservations, actually. They're there too as well. And they're also working for the VA or the Veterans Affairs medical centers because those facilities are offered round the clock, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And they too need actually the help of a pharmacist who's going to give them their medications and help them be well again or feel better. Pharmacists who work in pharmaceutical industry can be involved in a wide variety of jobs. And this is, I'm talking about actually, so what I'm talking about is industry is a multi-billion-dollar business, okay? And I'm talking about your big companies. And I know you guys know this, I'm gonna ramble off. Pfizer, there's GlaxoSmithKline, there's Johnson & Johnson, there's Moderna, there's Roche, there's a bunch others, but they are everywhere and they're international as well. So this includes them. You can actually go into industry and work in their sales, research, law, marketing, general business. Industry pharmacists may develop new drugs in a pharmaceutics department, conduct clinical drug trials in a research department, manage drug safety reports in an epidemiology department, and respond to medical information requests or work on quality control in a drug production department. Okay. You also might find industry pharmacists promoting drugs to consumers in the sales and marketing, working as drug information specialists, and developing and monitoring drug development regulations in the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. I'm going to give you an example. We actually have one of our alumni who works for the company Botox. and she works as a medical liaison for them. And she actually works she has a whole Northeast territory where she goes out and she talks to several offices, primary care physicians offices, about the safe procedures of Botox medication to help treat people that have migraine headaches or chronic headaches. It's a known, proven treatment of it. So that's what she does, and she's an alumni of ours. So it gives you just a little example of how they can help with all that, which nobody ever really thinks of when they think of a pharmacist, but that role is huge as well. Okay, so now when we look at over 140 colleges across the United States that are in pharmacy, that have colleges of pharmacy, and based on 134 of those schools, the graduating class of May 2020 definitely favored community pharmacy. However, we're seeing a huge change, which we're very excited about. And what I mean by that is that hospital pharmacy is climbing in the ranks. Nobody ever used to do that. Even just 5 years ago, the number that we had just leaving for retail or community pharmacy was in the 80th percentile. Okay, so that's exciting because we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing that level drop down to much lower. And we're seeing the rise on hospital pharmacy. We're seeing the rise on state and federal government, long-term care pharmacy, managed care pharmacy, which I did not go over actually. And managed care pharmacists actually work for insurance companies, because a lot of times insurance companies have to regulate their medications to put a cap on it as far as what's covered under somebody's insurance plan. And also a lot of times with cancer treatments, maybe it's on a trial basis, or maybe any other, it might not even be cancer, maybe another, that it's more of a trial basis and maybe hasn't been approved by that insurance company. Licensed pharmacists actually work for insurance companies to help regulate those costs and help manage with families and doctors' offices to help manage the treatment plan for certain patients that have these chronic diseases that need the extra care and need the extra coverage on their insurance plan. Because let's face it, unfortunately, medications are not cheap. They're very expensive. So any kind of help with that is often really kind of nice. So again, you can see actually that we're actually not going only for retail now. We're actually broadening out much more. And the other thing that is kind of exciting is that, they're also getting to other avenues that are not pharmacy related, which is kind of interesting, but that is there too. You'll also see that my percentages don't add up to 100%. They're a little bit more than 100%. And that's strictly because actually this is based on the graduating class of May 2020. And with them, a lot of times actually getting right out of school, you're young, you're ambitious, you're wanting money, and you have debt because of college. So a lot of times they'll actually pick up two jobs. They might work for industry, and they also might carry a retail community pharmacy job on the weekends or at nights. Sometimes with those, you get a nice packages. If you work on Sundays, maybe you get time and a half. So they offer some kind of nice perks actually to pharmacists that do work on the weekends or at nighttime shifts. Not so much in hospital pharmacy, because again, that's expected because they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the average median wage for a pharmacist who, as of May 2020, is about $128,000. So it's kind of comfortable. Again, the highest 10% were making more over than 164, but a nice median to that is 128,000. Keep in mind actually that my statistics for this past May 2021 is not out yet because our graduates just left and they're just now in the process of taking their national licensure exam. So we don't have their statistics yet or their data yet. But as soon as we do, I'm sure next year I'll share that with you guys. So let's go over actually now, let's talk about the admissions criteria for the Doctor of Pharmacy program. Now here at Western New England University, we offer it, but this is actually in general with most colleges of pharmacy across the United States, what they're going to be looking for. So they're going to be able to, we want you to complete the prerequisite coursework Okay, that's built in. We're going to go into that in a minute, but we're going to want to see it for Western New England. We require for all our prerequisite courses to have no grade below C minus. Okay, so it's got to be C minus or better for any of those prerequisite courses. And again, we're going to go into that in a minute. You want to also fully complete an application through FarmCast. And you also want to have submitting 2 letters of recommendation, one being from one of your professors, possibly at Greenfield Community College or at another community college that you attended or another course. But we don't want to see anybody from high school. I'm sorry. Even though we love those teachers, I love them too. But we're looking at professors on the college basis. And then we also require one from a healthcare practitioner or anybody else. One would be nice from a pharmacist, but we do realize that not everybody knows a PhD, an MD, or a PharmD. So another letter from our professor is perfectly fine. And obviously, we also have the English language testing for all non-native English speakers. And you're also going to be required to complete an interview with 2 faculty members, but we'll go over that in a minute. So we talked about the prerequisite course requirements, okay? And for these that you're taking at Greenfield Community College, those courses have the physical sciences and math, as well as the social sciences. In this prerequisite phase, you will be immersed in the study of biology to understand the basic structure and functioning of cells and organisms, because as soon as you come to the Doctor of Pharmacy program, you hit the ground running pretty much with disease states and more medical calculations that you'll need on top of everything. So again, this is actually good. You start off really easy in your first year at Greenfield, maybe taking some general biology, some general chemistry. Keep in mind also, we do take those AP courses that you had in high school. We will help satisfy those as well. As long as you tested out of them, we'll take them, even if they're in your science courses. But we also require some English composition, economics, psychology. We did remove some of them this year. So before we had about 67 credits, I think now we're down to about 61 credits. I'm going to say 61 credits because your microbiology at Greenfield Community College is 4 credits. And that's where we're missing 1 credit, because we found that some other colleges across the United States didn't have an extra credit for the lab, but we require it, but they only had 3 credits. So that's where we kind of changed it. So that's where we're saying about 60 credits or so. Again, but these are going to be all at Greenfield Community College, and Shane Clark, who is the transfer director, can help you with all that as well. Okay. So for the admissions timeline, what we're looking at is in July, we actually opened the portal for entry in fall of 2022, okay? So we're a whole year in advance, all right? So you're looking at in July of a year, we'll open up the portal, and towards October through May, what we'll do is we'll do the admissions committee decisions, okay? We'll do the interviews, and we'll go into that in a minute. We'll do the admissions committee. We'll meet to make sure that your application is all favorable and everything's in order. We do have a deadline of March 1st as being our deadline. However, we do typically go ahead and push that out to June 1st because that's when FarmCast will close its application portal as well. And then in late August, you start in your Doctor of Pharmacy program. We start you off in an orientation stage. For 1 week before all the other classes start. We get you acclimated with all our good stuff, with our programs and our laptops, which again, I'll go over in a minute. Okay, so we talked about interview and passing an interview, okay? So really what we're looking for is we're looking for qualified applicants to complete their application. They can be invited for an interview. They're both in person and they're doing virtually because of the pandemic. So we're doing both. Western New England is open in class, in person right now for all our courses, but we do understand those that are actually or cannot be in the classroom because of their compromised system. That we do understand that, so they're actually probably over Zoom. So we are doing a lot of interviews over Zoom as well. Okay, each interview session takes about an hour, and up to 30 to 40 minutes will be the two faculty professors or alumni. They'll just be asking you a general scenario of questions. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just ethical questions that they're going to ask you, because again, here at Western New England, our biggest thing is that pharmacists are the educators of medicines and how to take them. And we just want to make sure that all our pharmacists coming into the program, that they're able to actually communicate with another person, just like I am with you today. But again, we want to see that in an interview process because that's big for us. And then obviously we have a writing sample that you'll take at the end of your interview. That's short and brief. It's just a quick writing sample to see what you have. Okay, so don't get too nervous about the interview days. They go very fast and they're quick before you know it. So what we're looking at for our admissions committee, for them to make their decision, okay, they're going to be looking for your GPA in the prerequisite coursework. We want to see that at 3.0 or better, but if you're at a 2.7 or better, we're still going to look at you, okay? So don't get too nervous. But ultimately, what we're looking for is that prerequisite coursework that sets you up for the rigors moving forward into the doctor of pharmacy program. We want to see your success in that. So we're looking at 3.0 or better. We didn't talk about a PCAT score because we actually don't require the PCAT. PCAT is a preliminary test for you to take for entering into pharmacy school specifically. We actually got rid of that requirement, so it's no longer, but I get it. If you are an individual that knows, that wants to know where you stand as far as leading into pharmacy school, and you want to see where your general knowledge is, go ahead and take the PCAT. But they are going to be, we do require them to be on our application. So if you did poorly on them, we're going to ask you to present them, unfortunately. So if you don't test well, don't take them. Don't even bother with it, okay? We're going to be going by typically what you've done in your prerequisite coursework. We're also going to be looking at your letters of recommendation that we talked about that are going to come in, one of them being from a professor that knows your learning styles and capabilities. And the other one could be, again, from a professor or from anybody else, maybe in a healthcare related field. We're going to look for your writing score prompt. And we're going to also look for your interview scores as well. The other thing that we're looking for is intangibles, and that's maybe be like that you're bilingual. Maybe you've got pharmacy work experience. Maybe you work in a pharmacy already as a technician, and that's what we're looking for. And we're looking for a history of service and achievement. It only helps you. So all that community time that you've put out there, all that volunteerism that you've put out there, celebrate it and tell us and share us, because again, it comes into our decision-making process that we like to see. For our tuition and fees for the 2001-2022 season that we're gearing up for, and again, that's for entry in fall 2022. The tuition actually is $44,180, and the fees are about $2,560. So altogether, what you're looking at is for fees is $46,740, okay? Now, those are subject to change here and there because every year, obviously, things, markets go up, prices change. So that's subject to change, but it doesn't change by a huge number. It'll just go up slowly within a couple $100, okay? So if you are interested in pharmacy and you are going to Greenfield Community College, I would encourage you to apply to Western New England University. And the reason being is that we are offering our Greenfield Community College students a Transfer of Distinction Award. And what that is basically if you've done everything that we've required of you, you've done your application, you've met the requirements, you've done your interview, okay, and you've got a seat in a program, you actually are going to be getting $18,000 off per year for the first 2 years, okay, of the Doctor of Pharmacy program. The Doctor of Pharmacy program is for 4 full years. for those 2 first years to have $36,000 taken right off is fantastic. So I would definitely encourage you, if this is something of interest to you, definitely apply because we are able to offer you some scholarships as well, which is exciting for me. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, okay, Paula, there's 140 schools across the United States. Why would I look at Western New England? Okay, and yes, absolutely look, because there are so many other colleges of pharmacy out there. We're all striving for the greater good. So we're all trying to produce qualified licensed pharmacists to help lead the charge going into the future of medical care. But again, if you're looking at everybody else, consider looking at us. We offer small class sizes of only 75 students. Most colleges of pharmacy are looking at 100 students plus, maybe even 200, maybe even 300, okay, even here in the state of Massachusetts. And what that is basically with our small class size, it really gives you a unique opportunity to get to know your faculty and for your faculty to get to know you. And that's also great for get to do research with them, because we offer those opportunities where you could do research even from the first year in the Doctor of Pharmacy program. You could be published in an article, which is amazing. And a lot of our students are, because we offer the small class sizes. You get a unique bond with your professor. We offer dual degree programs. We can actually have you in the same amount of time in 4 years. We can have you leaving here with not only a Doctor of Pharmacy degree, but we can also have you leaving here with an MBA, which is huge for a pharmacist, because a lot of times, as we notice in those careers in pharmacy, they're overseeing their technicians or clerks. They're overseeing departments in industry. So it's always good to have that Master's of Business Administration behind you as well. And you can do it in the same amount of time, and it's at a fraction of the cost on the MBA program. And it's that portion is all done online, which is great for pharmacy students. The National Licensure Exam. So another great thing that Western New England has that I'm proud of, actually, is that when you do complete the Doctor of Pharmacy program somewhere, anywhere, hopefully it's here at Western New England, and when you do, actually, you're going to be required to pass the national exam to get your licensure, your national licensure. And that's called the NAPLEX exam. And right now, we are at 93% pass rate on their first try, which is amazing. But we attribute that towards our small class sizes. We do go over and over and over again, especially in that last year, as far as what you can expect. We're going to go over and over again some of those mock tests to make sure that you're prepared, because the last thing we want to do is have you held up to get your national exam licensure held up on an exam after passing the Doctor of Pharmacy program. Okay, so we're going to do our best with that. We offer study abroad opportunities in Guatemala and Thailand, which gives you a great opportunity to open up your eyes to see what other countries have. And what other countries have eradicated diseases that are no longer found in the United States, that are running rampant in other countries like Thailand, which again, that's why we offer these opportunities. We also have one in China, and I apologize, it's not listed there, but COVID put the kibosh on all of our overseas opportunities. But we're hoping that with the pandemic, if it does release a little bit, we'll be able to start traveling out there again with our rotations being out there, because it is truly, I want to say all expiring, where you can see that certain countries have to still, eradicate certain diseases that are already done here. And also to see how their healthcare programs work. It really opens your eyes and gives you more, I want to say, empathy towards folks out here in the United States. State-of-the-art technology. We have a brand new building, actually, that was constructed in 2011. $40 billion worth of expenses. It happens to be my office, which, by the way, which I love it here. But state-of-the-art technology. And the other reason why I want to say that is because in the Doctor of Pharmacy program, we actually give you a laptop tablet to use. We usually use Hewlett Packard or HP. But this year we actually used Dell because of the pandemic. HP was behind in getting us all our laptops for our class, our incoming class. So we went to Dell. And our laptop tablets actually can fold around and you can actually handwrite on them because we want to make sure our students have the best technology. And that's the last thing that we want them to worry about is that when you get into class, that you have all the tools that you're going to need at your fingertips. Okay. The great thing is after you graduate, or at graduation, I should say, you're able to buy that laptop from us for $1. Okay. So it's great because again, we want to make sure that you have all the tools properly needed. Say you've been up all night because you have an exam on, maybe it's on, echocardiograms and how they're read. You've been up all night studying. The last thing we want you to do is worry about. So we have all the chargers that go with all our laptops. We have everything readily available in our auditoriums. We can give you a loaner. We can work on your laptop while you're in class. We can send your laptop out and give you a loaner to use while you're having yours fixed. And again, it's all yours. You just have to buy it from us for $1. And everybody does say that and they take advantage of that, which is kind of neat. Most other health programs do not offer that. I love it that we do because again, it makes it pretty easy that our OT people are not dealing with 1,000 different laptops and trying to figure out programs, software, what's readily available for exams, all that kind of stuff. So we kind of put that out there. Our graduating class, they actually would do it here again, 95% of them. So that's of 2020s that graduated in that May. They actually said that if they had to do the doctor of pharmacy program all over again, they would do it here at Western New England. Interesting. I don't know why they'd want to do it all over again. But the fact that they want to do it here again is actually really cool. And again, we attribute that to our small class sizes. We're kind of really student focused and hands-on. Our residency match rate for our 2020s, again, because that's who I'm referring to, we're second highest in the nation. And what I mean by that is after the doctor of pharmacy program, when you want to specialize in, say, ambulatory care, or you want to specialize in a disease state, maybe it's the cardiology, maybe you want to be on the cardiology wing, you're going to have to do what's called a residency. And that's where the hospital hires you. You only get paid about half of what they normally would pay you because it's also what they consider a learning year as well. So our residency match rates with folks for their first choice was second highest in the nation. And again, we're attributing that to small class sizes, that we're able to work with you one-on-one to get you to where you want to be, in what field you want to be in when you leave here, in what pharmacy field that is, and where you want to be. Okay, so I just want to also share with you guys that actually we have the Doctor of Pharmacy program open house that's happening on Sunday, October 17th from 9 to 11:30 a.m. We'd love to have you there, actually, if you can. Registration is required and you just need to go to, and the link is right there. I'm going to actually share this and I'm going to be able to give this out to Shane Clark as well so that he can hand this out to you guys. It's our flyer for open house. We'd really love to see you there. We're also going to offer a couple of virtual information sessions come January. So if you're not able to take part in our open house program and you just want to see what the program's all about, we'll definitely run a virtual one so that you can do it from the comfort of your home or wherever you may be, maybe work, and view it that way. Okay, and that's it for our pharmacy program, but I'm going to monopolize this time actually, and Shane gave me the okay, and I think I still have the okay, that I just want to share with you. There's another program that we offer here at Western New England University, and it's another doctorate program. It is the Doctor of Occupational Therapy. And although I don't want to present on that, I just want to share with you what occupational therapists do. Okay, because maybe some of you might not know what they do. Because actually, as far as, first let's actually talk about what the word occupation and occupational therapy word and the word means, because it has nothing to do with a career. It has everything to do with what you do every day. Little occupations, okay, those are habits that you do every day. And we're talking about, maybe getting up in the morning, having breakfast, getting dressed, eating. These are all stuff that you can do personally. But when you can't, because of accident, illness, or injury, or because of something that you're born with, sometimes there's actually a reason why you can't do these items on your own, okay? And that's where the role of an occupational therapist comes in. They work on a holistic range to help overcome barriers for those individuals to be independent again. They serve as guides by helping people with injuries and illnesses establish health and life goals, and then work with them to find the interventions, technology, and equipment that work best to where they want to be. Okay. So it's kind of like a PT, OT, even though everybody's going to think they're the same. No, they're not at all, actually. A PT, if you want to think of them as a body mechanic, they're going to make sure that you can function. Maybe you broke your wrist and you want to make sure that your wrist can function properly. You're going to work with a PT because they're going to give you strengthening devices. They're going to work with you on procedures or activities to help work and have you be able to bend again or stretch or feel certain nerves. Occupational therapists serve as guides. So say you broke your wrist, but you can't brush your teeth now. So what do? Who are you going to go to? Occupational therapists work with those individuals, okay? They're going to work with folks that maybe had a stroke and no longer can drive anymore. Maybe they want to see if they can drive again. They can do driving simulations. So they're like the catch-all for all the healthcare professions that really, help folks with that. And so it's kind of nice. And actually, I noticed that we have just a little bit more time. So I'm just going to move this forward just a little bit, just in case. So again, they help as the catch-all. But where they're working in hospitals and schools, okay? Because they're working actually in early education, because a lot of those students, maybe those young ones, don't have the correct motor skills yet to maybe write their name. They're going to work with them one-on-one so that it takes off the burden from the teacher, and it also relieves the burden from the rest of the class distractions wise, and helping those students recover or help them sit upright or help them write their name. They're working in long-term care facilities. They're working in home health. They're working in academia. They're teaching. They're working in mental health, which is huge because now they're helping out with, say, people that have anxieties that go into a store. They're helping folks as an occupational therapist, helping people with mental illnesses overcome their barriers. They're helping them walk into, besides, say, as a therapist or a counselor, or psychologists, they're helping them go to these facilities or say a grocery store, and they're walking through them with them. They're trying to make sure that they can go back to, doing what they do every day and overcome that anxiety barrier. All right. So, and their average salary is pretty attractive. Again, they're $86,000 as of May 2020, but some of them are earning over $122,000. My name is Paula Geddes. I'm at Western New England University. I'm with the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. And if you have any questions about our programs that we offer the Doctor of Occupational Therapy, we offer the Doctor of Pharmacy, we offer the Masters of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and we also offer the Masters of Pharmacogenomics, which I don't have anything on yet, but pharmacogenomics, just to give you a quick highlight on that, is actually taking a look at your DNA, because that's where medical is going towards. They're looking at your DNA and they're trying to see actually if drugs have an impact on your DNA, on the genes that you have. This is actually huge for many people with thyroid issues, maybe with diabetes, mental illness also. So they're helping those people out because they're able to identify in your genes, just looking at your DNA buildup, on how that affects any medications that will go into you. And again, it's the future of science, the future of medical. So we're going to offer it. So if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call or reach out or ask Shane for my contact information. We'll be happy to help you.